Whitehall's spending watchdog has criticised the Ministry of Defence over its plans to leave Britain without an aircraft carrier for almost 10 years. The National Audit Office says the Strategic Defence and Security Review has created significant levels of uncertainty, with the final bill for 2 new carriers now likely to exceed £10 billion. The government, however, says it's saved money and put the carrier programme back on track. Kaya Lark reports.
The MOD confirmed in the SDSR in October that they would be going ahead with plans to build the 2 Queen Elizabeth-class aircraft carriers, but only one will be operational pending the next SDSR in 2015. But the ship now needs to be converted to operate the more capable version of the Joint Strike Fighter. That's delaying the project by a further 2 years and leaves the UK without a carrier for a decade. The National Audit Office says that from the paperwork it has seen, the SDSR is unaffordable unless there's a guarantee of a spending increase by the MOD post-2015. It says without that, then the carrier strike is once again vulnerable to change or even cancellation.
The single biggest thing that would keep me awake at night from our report is the risk that it means, because you've got to try and reconstitute the capability when the new carrier comes in. And that's not just about pilots flying on and off the deck, it's the entire way you operate the ship.
The carrier will only be available to operate for a maximum of 200 days a year, but the Defence Secretary says the previous government is to blame.
Well, we didn't choose our starting point. We inherited a complete mess from Labour, a carrier programme which they didn't have the money for in the budget, where they had the wrong design of the ship and the wrong planes to go on it. So we inherited a starting point that we would not have chosen. But having said that, we had to take the appropriate decisions to make it interoperable with the United States and to give us 50 years of the best utility that we could have in terms of power projection.
The criticisms come as the UK's biggest maritime conference continues at Russia.
I think the UK will find that it is missing a capability that it will prove to be needed at some point in the next decade. It's worth noting that the 2 countries physically closest to the living operation from the NATO point of view, France and Italy, both sent carriers as well, which is an argument as to that you need them even if you have air bases available.
There are concerns in the report too that increasing funding after 2015, when British troops have left Afghanistan, makes little sense, and that after 10 years without the carrier capability, it will be harder than currently expected to bring it back into service. Kaya Lark for Forces News in London.